Hello witches, wizards, and those who are yet to receive their Hogwarts school letters, welcome to my Harry Potter kitchen. This is the YouTube series where I'm baking my way through the Harry Potter books, creating recipes for all of the food and drink that we find inside. If you missed last week's recipe where we created the most delicious melon and mint sorbet, then make sure you check out the link down below in the description to catch up. And if you're new to the kitchen and you want to see some more Harry Potter recipes, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell. Then you'll get an alert every Magic Monday when there's a brand new recipe. Speaking of which, it's Magic Monday, so let's get to it. Okay, so let's head back into chapter 11, the Dueling Club, to see what's next. Okay, so after all the chaos in potions class, we're now a week later. Harry, Ron and Hermione are in the entrance hall and they see a poster for the Dueling Club, so they decide to go along to learn some new spells. Lockhart is running it with Snape and they get everyone into pairs. Harry is paired with Malfoy, so pretty sure this is going to end in trouble, and on the next page it does. They're now firing spells at each other. Malfoy raises his wand and says Serpent Sortia, and a snake comes out. Harry is trying to make the snake back down, but he's talking Parseltongue and doesn't realise it. Everyone is pretty scared, especially as it is approaching Justin Finch Fletchley. Then, after that, Ron explains that no one knew what Harry was saying, and also, you know, the heir of Slytherin might be able to talk to snakes. So whispers are growing as everyone now has a pretty good reason to believe that it could be Harry. Justin is actively avoiding Harry on the next few pages, and then I can see that the Hufflepuffs are also starting to spread rumours. As Harry is trying to avoid everyone walking through the corridors, Justin is now lying on the floor, rigid, and he's been petrified. Harry is at the scene of the crime. Peeves is screaming, so everyone out has come and seen him. And Professor McGonagall is taking him to see the headmaster. And that's where I can see our next recipe. Sherbet Lemon, she said. This, evidently, a password. This is going to be the tastiest password we've had yet. If you'd like to recreate these Sherbet Lemon gummies, then all of the ingredients you need, along with the measurements and instructions, are on my website, bradleybakes.co.uk. The link is down below in the description. Sherbet Lemons are back for another year, and if you missed the recipe that we made last year during the Philosopher's Stone, I'll leave the link for that down below. We followed the more traditional recipe then, which was for a hard candy with that sharp lemony taste. But this year I wanted to try something a little bit different, so we're going to create Sherbet Lemon gummies. These are going to be still a very sweet treat, but we'll make them so you can chew them like a homemade Haribo recipe. We're going to create a marshmallowy foam at the bottom, and then we're going to top that off with our nice lemon jelly. First up, we do need to make that foam layer though, so this is what you need to do. To begin, you want to bloom your gelatin by placing them in a bowl with some cold water. Set these to one side for 5 minutes until they go nice and soft. While the gelatin blooms, you can move on to making your sugar syrup by placing your sugar, water and liquid glucose into a pan on a medium heat. We're going to bring this up to the boil until it reaches the soft ball stage, which is about 116 degrees Celsius or 240 Fahrenheit. As soon as that hits temperature, remove it from the heat, and then we're going to squeeze out the excess water from our gelatin and add it in. Stir that through until it's fully dissolved, and then we're going to transfer it all into a stand mixer. You then want to whisk this on a high speed for about 3 to 5 minutes until it forms stiff peaks and goes light and fluffy like marshmallows. At this point, you can add in your vanilla. While the foam layer is whisking, you can prepare a quick mixture of equal parts corn flour and icing sugar, which we'll use to make sure it doesn't stick. Once it's ready, I've transferred it into a piping bag and then cut off the end to help me squeeze out the right diameter for my rind. For this recipe, I've got myself a silicone mould in the shape of lemon segments. I'll be piping the foam into the white shape that you usually see when you cut a lemon, but if you don't have one of these, then you can just pour it into the bottom of your mould as standard. It's important to cover it with some icing sugar first to prevent it from sticking, and then pipe away. Once you're happy with the base layer, you can then set that to one side for about 15 minutes for it to firm up. Okay, so while the foam layer is setting, we're going to move on to the main event of our Sherbet Lemon gummies, which is the sour lemon jelly. And for this, I'm going to use real lemon juice to get a really bitter taste and some citric acid to get that sherbety effect. If you prefer it to not be so sour, you can take out some of that lemon juice and replace it with water or omit the citric acid altogether. It's really, really quick and easy to make this jelly recipe though. Then we're going to add that on top and give it some time to set. Again, we need to bloom our gelatin leaves, so I'm going to place them into a bowl with some cold water and pop them to one side for 5 minutes until softened. This is a great time to prepare your lemon, so I'm going to grate the zest of one, cut the rest in half and squeeze out the juice. This all needs to then go into our pan along with our sugar and our citric acid, and I'm going to bring that up to the boil. Don't leave it bubbling too long though, as we don't want the water to evaporate. For an extra lemony look, add in a few drops of yellow food colouring. Be careful not to add in too much though, so it's better to do this a bit at a time. Once the gelatin has softened, you can squeeze out the excess water and then place that into your lemon sugar, mixing it through until it's nicely dissolved. Once that's smooth, I'm then going to transfer it into a heatproof jug to make it nice and easy to pour into our moulds. To make sure that our foam bases don't float, I'm only going to add in half of the lemon jelly first and then pop them into the freezer quickly for about 10 minutes so that can set. I've then taken them out and filled it up to the top with the rest of our lemon jelly layer. If you get any over the sides, just scrape them off and keep on going. These then need to go into the fridge to set properly for about 2 hours. So our Sherbet Lemon gummies are all set, so it's time for one more step before we can eat them, and that is to create our sugar coating. For this, I'm going to mix together some caster sugar and some citric acid, so it's going to have a lovely sweet but sharp tang, just like our Sherbet Lemons, and then we can plate them up and tuck in. To make your sugar coating, simply add your sugar and citric acid into a bowl and mix together until well combined. To ease the Sherbet Lemons out of the mould, place some boiling water into a tray and then pop the mould in. Leave for a few seconds and then remove. This will melt the edges slightly, allowing you to scoop them out with a spatula, but don't leave them in the water too long, otherwise they'll melt all of your gummies. I'm then going to dip the Sherbet Lemon gummies in a few at a time, making sure you get a nice even coating. Shake off any excess and then place them to one side while you finish the rest of your batch. And with that, our Sherbet Lemon gummy recipe is complete. It's a fun and chewy twist on Dumbledore's favourite sweet. Let me know down below in the comments, do you prefer the hard candy Sherbet Lemon or these new gummy Sherbet Lemons? That's all for this week's recipe, but if you want to see more from my Harry Potter kitchen, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell, then you'll get an alert every Magic Monday when there's a brand new recipe. I'm off to tuck into my sweets, and I'll see you next week. Don't mind if I do.